What's up, guys? It is March, which means international football is back, and the U.S. will be playing two games this international window. The international window is at the end of March, so there'll be no club football. It'll be all international break. This is when the World Cup playoffs will take place. U.S. has two games, one against Belgium, one against Portugal. So it'll be an interesting one. It's going to be a real test of the squad and of Pochettino. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make my prediction on my squad. This is partly what I think will be chosen, partly also what I just would like to see, what I want to see in this squad. So start off with the goalkeepers. I feel like the same three goalkeepers have been called up a lot recently. It's going to be these same three. Matt Freese, who seems like he's going to be the number one heading into this World Cup, and it's his spot to lose. Matt Turner, who been there, done that, has the experience, but he is not good enough to go far in a World Cup. And then Patrick Schulte in there, the Columbus Crew goalkeeper. I'm okay with this crew. There's no one that's really taking it by storm at the moment. You still have Gaga Slonina and Diego Koken, who have yet to, really flourish so far, club football wise. But they're still really young, have plenty of time to do so. Now on to the center backs. I've gone with an obvious one, Chris Richards. I mean, he is going to be the man. He probably, honestly, might be the captain for the World Cup. In my opinion, he's our best center back. He's our number one center back, finally coming to fruition and living up to that potential he had when he was at Bayern Munich. And then I've also gone with Malachi Banks. Hopefully, Pochettino finally selects him and actually starts him and plays him again. Pochettino's had a lot more success with this U.S. team in a back five, back three system. I think Banks next to Richards would be really good. He's having a great year for Augsburg in the Bundesliga. They got to work on getting him, secured up because he is a dual national with Germany. So I think that this is a perfect opportunity to get him minutes, get a real solid look in, and play him in both these games. I think you need to play him in both these games and then really make a case for him. Hey, look, you are really in contention to be playing at this World Cup. Do not switch nations type of agreement, type conversation. And then my other starting center back, again, I'm going through essentially starters: Matt Freese, Malachi Banks, Chris Richards, Alex Freeman is going to be my right center back. He played really well there. Recently, he just made the move from Orlando City to Villarreal. Going to be playing more right back for them, but as that right center back, I'm actually a big fan of him in that position. He's nice, he's athletic, he's still got some size to him, and he can carry the ball forward when needed, still has that depth and cover behind him as well. I think it's just going to be a really, really smart move to keep him there as well, because really our right backs are going to be really far advanced. Whoever he chooses as that right wing back is going to be quite far up in front. Now the other two center backs I have are going to be Mark McKenzie and Aaron Trusty. Aaron Trusty at Celtic, Mark McKenzie is at Toulouse in the French league. I think, in my opinion, Trusty is a very solid option. I kept going between Trusty and Miles Robinson, who got the call up and got some minutes in the last window. But in my opinion, I would prefer Trusty over Miles Robinson. Trusty's been playing a lot recently for Celtic and just gotten those minutes in, whereas Miles Robinson, the MLS season's just getting started, not got a lot of minutes underneath his belt so far this season. So in my opinion, I would go with Trusty right now, at least. Give him a chance. He's done well with the U.S. when he's gotten his few chances. So I'm honestly all on board with Trusty. I think he'll be quite successful as one of those wide center backs. Now, fullback-wise, fullback, wingback, whichever you want to consider it, I've gone with, on the left, Max Arston, who I think is just, Pochettino is in love with him. And I think he's performed well for the U.S. I don't think he is a world-class player or anything, but he's still on the younger side into his career. I think he's still got plenty of room to grow, and he can definitely take that extra step up, and he has done very well for the U.S. in that wing-back role. So he's there. And then I also have Jedi Robinson. Has struggled really for fitness this year, had that bigger knee injury the start of the season, and then has still just kind of struggled to make his way back into the serious consistent first team minutes for Fulham this year. So I would still take him in this March window, see how he's doing. Left backs are definitely thin, but yeah, I would go with Jedi Robinson. Right back wise, I've got Dest, who can play left wing as well, left wing back. I think he's getting a lot of minutes now, and I think that he is just going to be another one of those skillful defenders that can help break down a side, create some chances. And then I also have Timothy Weah listed as wing back. He played there a couple times recently, and I think that he is actually quite a good wing back in this system. He can then join in, make a lot of overlapping runs with the 10s, and really join in those attacks, and then allow Freeman to take up more of a normal right back role when the attack is on that right hand side. I think that Weah is going to be the starting right back. I have him as the starting right back, right wing back. I think Poch actually likes him there. He's the type of player that Poch would really prefer in that kind of a position like that, and I think he'll work quite well throughout the tournament there, and then he can push his way forward. And again, I have him listed as a fullback, wingback, but obviously he can play in those 10s very easily if we need it. Now, center mid wise, kind of like the center mids 8s sort of criteria for me. In my opinion, nailed on starter Tanner Tessman, great year with Lyon so far, has really started performing with the U.S. I think he is an absolutely crucial part. Really cover that area defensively once the wing backs and fullbacks push forward, and we have some established attacking momentum. And then I have next to him Tyler Adams. I think he's a huge question mark coming into it. He's coming off a minor meniscus tear, I think it was, or MCL. He's been playing for Bournemouth. He's still been playing minutes and good minutes as well. But I think my real concern is him starting consistently, especially as we head into the World Cup. Him playing, how much can you really rely on him to start every single one of those group stage games, and then the knockout rounds as you go on? How much can you rely on him to start those games? I also have in there Johnny Cardosa. I think he's a very questionable and curious case because once he's played for the U.S., he has not done well, but he's playing really well for Atletico Madrid. He's starting for Atletico Madrid, but he just needs to turn it on for the country. He's just really struggled so far with the national team, but he is still such a good player that I would immediately have him in this squad. I mean, I think you got to start thinking about starting him next to Tessman, just seeing how it works, trying to get both of them working and gelling together, seeing what kind of options, because if Adams does go down, different guys to get in there and see. I also have, obviously, Weston McKennie. He can play a lot of different positions, as you have seen with Juventus. If you pay attention with Juventus, he's played a lot of different areas, a lot of different positions so far this year for Juve. Just signed a new contract until I think 2030. Rewarded for his good work. He's done actually really well. He's in a good bit of form. So I think he could be starting some of these games, especially that first game against Belgium. Fitness, obviously dependent. But yeah, I mean, Weston McKennie, I think it's going to be a nailed-on inclusion into this squad and then the World Cup, barring any fitness injuries and issues. Then my fifth midfielder, I've gone with Sebastian Berhalter. I think Pochettino is really a big fan of him. And the way I kind of put it is he's got that bit of American prick about him. He's just on that field. He's just run through you just nonstop. He's not necessarily the cleanest and, smoothest midfielder out there, but at the same time, he will win that ball back and he'll just move it along. It's still a good player, and his set pieces, his dead ball ability is incredible, which the U.S. has really struggled with over the last, 4, 5, 6 years. You haven't Pulisic take corners, and he cannot take corners. Berhalter is very good at set pieces. I think, as you work into this window and then even into the World Cup, late into a game you're chasing or whatever, and you're getting a lot of set pieces, someone like that to come on and really put those balls in is somebody that I think would be a great addition. And I think he's a bit of a good character guy as well, from what I've heard and seen. Is he's really fun to be around, good character guy in the locker room, and so I'm actually really okay with that. Of course it's Berhalter, But at the same time, I think he's actually going to be a lot more in contention than some people have him in terms of that midfield spot. Now, as the 10s, kind of an obvious two, Pulisic and Tillman, both of which are up and down fitness-wise as of late. Tillman just missed the Leverkusen game this past weekend with a minor knock. Pulisic has really struggled for form in 2026 after a hot start to the season. So, it's very, very questionable and curious on how those two are going to be and if they are even fit enough for this roster. But if they are fit, obviously you've got to bring them. This is, not a true case where you can test out 22, 23 guys and just see, well, maybe we can find that one or two guys we can include into the squad at the, to the back end of the squad, that 26-man roster for the World Cup. This is not that case. But you still have some room to do so, and I am doing it here with my third 10. I only have 3 number 10s coming in because way I can play up there or you can move the strikers down. And I've gone with Rokas Puskás, playing at Hajduk Split over in Croatia. He's having a good year with them. He's started on their team for a couple years now. They're known for really helping develop good youth talents, and I think he's just a fantastic player, really, really developing, really maturing. I think he's 21 years old still, so nice and young. A lot of potential. I am a huge fan of him. I would love to see him. Diego Luna is injured and won't be back for this camp, so someone like Puskás has a great chance to get into the squad and get a good look at. And I would 100% be taking him. If I am Pochettino, if I'm the one choosing this squad, I am giving him a call and saying, hey, look, I want you here just to see. Because at the same time, he might come in and not play well, not be ready, and that's okay. But you want to take that chance now because you know what Luna has brought for the U.S. national team. You know what Brendan Aronson has brought to the U.S. national team and what he has for club football. He's playing consistently for Leeds. But someone like Puskás needs a chance. You got to give him a chance. I am really worried about Pulisic's health going into the 2030 World Cup. You need new guys. And I think Puskás could be a serious starter for the entire next World Cup cycle. So why not bring him in now? Get him a look in. Get him acclimated. Start getting him going. And give him a chance. Now for my strikers, the obvious 3, I think the top 3 are so obvious and clear. Florian Balogun, Haji Wright, and Ricardo Pepi are my 3 strikers. Balogun's going to be the starter, no doubt about it. He's just looked a lot more comfortable in the system and just really free-flowing, just creates the whole squad a lot of free-flowing opportunities. Haji Wright, who's having a great year with Coventry in the championship. I think he's up to like 18 goals, 17, 18 goals at this point. He's having a great year for Coventry. Nice big guy, really moving the ball in. And then Ricardo Pepi came back. He had a real nasty arm break a couple months ago for PSV. He is back. He is playing, and he is scoring. And he scored, I think, on his return, a really, really nice goal. So I think Pepi is in there as well. I'm a fan of Pepi. I think he's just bringing something a little bit different. I know some people were throwing in Adjimang's name in there. I am a huge hater of Adjimang. He's having a decent year for Derby, and people will look at his goals and say, okay, he's got, I think, 10 goals now for Derby, but a lot of them have just been headers on set pieces and stuff. And if you're going to have a big guy, we don't need 4 strikers in a 1-striker formation in the first place. But if you're going to have a big guy, you already have Haji Wright, who is not small. I think he's 6'2", and Pepi, who's 6'2", 6'1", 6'2". So you got 2 big guys already who are there, able to head a ball in. Not a big deal at all. So I think that's a very obvious one. So at that point, my squad's Freeze, Turner, Schulte, Banks, Richards, Freeman, McKenzie, Trusty, Arston, Weah, Jedi, Dest, Adams, Tessman, Johnny, Berhalter, McKennie, Pulisic, Tillman, Puskás, Wright, Balogun, Pepi. I think that's a good solid 23-man squad. March this when it was 23-man World Cup. It will be a 26-man. So I do have a few extra players that I think if I see them getting called up, I honestly wouldn't be shocked, especially in this window, let alone as we head into the World Cup. But, guys that I think very easily could have a chance and are definitely in that conversation to be called up in March. Like I said when I was talking about Trusty, Miles Robinson's one of them. Tim Ream as much as he is past his, heyday and is really struggling, Pochettino's relied on him a good amount, and he's a leader, so there's that part of it. And he's definitely going to be a guy that's going to be in consideration depending on how his season goes with Charlotte for the World Cup, just being that leadership role. And again, he's just somebody that at the end of the game, you're trying to see how to win. He'll just throw his head at everything. It's an option, but I would not take him at all. I think he's done. I think his career is just about it. I think it's his final year. He's really struggled already in 2 games with Charlotte. So yeah, I think he's gone. But I have him on the list just because of how Pochettino has been calling him in and using him as of late. Extra fullback wise, Joe Scally, John Tolkien, 2 guys out in Germany. Both of them are playing well and playing a lot of minutes. I think Scally has done well for the U.S. once he's played. But again, you've got Weah, you've got Dest. And again, that's part of the whole, if Weah moves up to a 10, you need another right back. I think Scally gets in there as well. So Scally is definitely one of those guys that I think, honestly, I have right towards the top of getting called in to this squad that I don't already have on my 23-man roster. Midfield-wise, Aiden Morris playing great with Middlesbrough this year. A lot of minutes again. And Pochettino has selected him a good bit. Not played as much, but I think he is obviously in that conversation to be included in the squad. Jack McGlynn as well. Nice young player. Going to have some contributions into the next cycle for sure. But I think that he still has a few issues and needs to develop a little bit more. Kind of where would that best spot be? I don't think it would be as a 10 in the system. It would probably be as that, or he wouldn't be as a 6, one of those deeper midfielders. It'd probably be as a 10 on that right-hand side so he can come in onto his left foot, put some balls in the box, have some shots. Pochettino's given him a chance, and he has done well when he has come in. But, it's a really tough one. Depending on the fitness of Pulisic and Tillman, McGlynn can easily slide in there as well. Brendan Aronson, obviously, he was the one probably more shocking leave out because I put in Puigdemont. Playing a lot of minutes for Leeds this season, so I would not be shocked at all if he does get in over Puigdemont. Puigdemont hasn't been called up before, so Brendan Aronson's kind of the more logical you expect it to happen. And then I have one shocker. There's a lot of conversations about lack of depth, so I've gone with Gozo, the 18-year-old winger at Real Salt Lake. He's done, had a decent start to the season with Real Salt Lake, but they're also really not a good team. They're kind of in that not even middle stage, the bottom of the pack type of area. But the U.S. are lacking winger options. They really are. He provides something a little bit different. He needs to get a little bit more consistent, but at the same time, he did really well at the last Youth World Cup when he was playing this past summer. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him getting called up, but I think that's a lot more of a stretch and a long shot. But, he's just one guy that I want to go ahead, throw him in there because, again, it's somebody that people are starting to have this conversation about these younger guys, Julian Hall, Anish Mehmeti, Hertzakani, Berchimas, these kinds of guys that are starting to break into the MLS rosters and all. What kind of depth and when do they start getting chances? I think that it's a long shot for someone like Gozo to get in there right now. But, I wouldn't be shocked if he is included in a roster anytime soon. But yeah, that is my 23-man roster. My starting 11 would be Freeze with Banks, Richards, Freeman at center backs, Weah right back. You could put Dest left back or Arfston. Either one of those would be quite, kind of toss up. Tessman and McKinney probably, or Johnny in there as those, double pivot 6s essentially /8s. The 10s, Pulisic and Tillman, so important for us at the moment. And then striker-wise, Florian Balogun, kind of an obvious striker option there to start. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any other players that you want to see called up, whether it's someone like, Puigdemont, if you want to see Puigdemont called up, or what kind of other players you want to see surprise players called up, or if you think I'm completely missing somebody. I know somebody's going to say Reyna probably, but Reyna is injured again, of course, which he can never stay fit, which sucks because once he plays for the U.S., he's actually plays well. But But yeah, that's my squad. That's my extras. Let me know what you guys think. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see everybody in the next video.